All right, welcome. Good afternoon and good day to you, wherever you're listening to me from. My name is Joshua Ugremi, and welcome to Just Raw. This is a platform where we aim to develop ourselves personally by sharing each of our experience, my experience, your experience, people that I've talked to, I've spoken with, they've shared their experience with me, and then we come together to bind every experience together, all for our growth, all for your growth, all for my growth. Because when I speak, I learn more, and also I also learn from other people as well. So to those who have been following, I really appreciate your followership, so to say, or your subscription to the YouTube channel, and then I really much appreciate it. So today now I want to discuss a very important matter, and then this is not for me, this is not for you. But basically, what I want to discuss is for my grandson. All right, I am not married. I don't have a sugar mama anywhere. I don't have a baby anywhere. So you might be wondering, why my grandson? Why my grandson? Now, one thing I am most focused on, and one thing that I've actually learned from quite a number of people is that when you things you make for generations to come will definitely last. Things you make for generation will definitely last. The advices that you aim or you want to give that will still be relevant for generations that are coming, they will definitely last. Now, one thing we should always realize and we should always put into practice and into notice is that whatever we'll be doing currently in our current state, whatever activity we'll be getting into, whatever thing we are doing, whatever actions we are taking, we're not just doing it for ourselves. Of course, I'm not with the opinion that you shouldn't live your life as a young person or as a normal human being. You should live your life. You should live your life. You should enjoy it to the fullest. You should make sure that you don't live for somebody else. You live for yourself. But as well, let your life be an emulation to generations yet to come. Now, what do I want to discuss? Today, I want to discuss something very important that I feel a lot of people lack, especially when you're starting out something new. You're starting out something that fuels your fire, that fuels your fire, that gives you vibe, that makes you excited, that gives you butterflies in your belly, apart from love. All right, so now this is something when people start something new and it feels exciting, but with time, they tend to lose the energy. They tend to lose the energy, they tend to lose the vibe, they tend to lose the reason why they started in the first place. Now, sometimes it may not be due to the fact that they intentionally want to lose it. It's not because of the fact that they don't want to do it. It's not because of the fact that it is hard. Of course, it may be, they may lose the vibe, they may not be intentional with it anymore. But most times, it is due to the fact that they either get distracted or there are side tractions and there are things calling them, and then the focus is no longer there anymore. Now, basically, the topic I want to discuss is something very popular, something that we all have been hearing about or that you have heard about, and this is called consistency. Consistency. All right, cool. Now, what is consistency? Okay, so now, in my own words, in my own definition, and basically in my own experience, now, consistency to me, it means sticking true to something, sticking true to a decision, sticking true to an action, time over time, over time, even when it doesn't feel good, even when you don't feel like, even when you lose the vibe, even when it doesn't feel comfortable, even when people do not support you, even when you do not even support yourself, still sticking true to that action, to that decision, to see it through success, even when you are not even getting the success that you desire. I see a lot of people, try doing something. Of course, I've been in that kind of phase once before today, before now, before this position that I currently find myself in. I've tried a number of things. I've tried doing a lot of things, including including trying to, create comedy videos. Like I tried being a comedian, and then, well, maybe I could have been good at it. Maybe I could have blown. Yeah, you can't say. Even though when I was starting, of course, there's a difference when you watch a comedy and then you're like, wow, And then there is difference when you are like watching a comedy video and you're like, what's wrong with this guy? I like go and sleep. Yeah, that was the kind of way my comedy was then, because basically people were laughing at me instead of laughing at my comedy. Anyways, maybe I could have learned, maybe I could have gotten better, maybe I could have sharpened my skill more in terms of comedy. Only God knows. And then only consistency would have known. But then the summary is that I wasn't consistent with this. Now I've tried many things. I've tried selling shoes on pre-order, all those sheep, China, blah blah blah, and all those stuff. Of course, it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It works. People who it works for, or those stuffs work for, or those things work for, is basically because they were consistent on those things, even when it made sense and even when it does not. Now, a lot of people get into things. Now, I actually got a quote from, where did I get it from? I think from Alex Omozi. And basically, he says that every winner and every loser, they have the same goal. So whether you are a winner, whether you are a loser, whether you are, feeling the vibe to create something, you and somebody out there, you have the same goal. So your goal does not make you unique. Your goal does not make you what? Your goal does not make you unique. However, the action that you do, the things that you put in it, what you do that makes you unique. Your goal does not make you unique. Whether you are a winner, whether you're a loser, everybody sets the same goal. Everybody wants to be rich. If you are young, you're probably 18, probably when you were 18, you were thinking, okay, when I get to 25, I'm going to get very rich, marry a very beautiful lady, or vice versa, marry a very handsome guy, own this business, be a big entrepreneur, make myself known, be popular and everything. Everybody has the same goal, even right from your young age. There are times you probably have seen cars passing around and you feel like, that's my car. I like that car. When I grow up, I'm going to buy that car. And you'll be like, okay, my mom, my dad, Tiba Dagba in Yoruba, Tiba Dagba, mo máa ra Benz fún yín, mo máa ra helicopter fún yín, mo máa ra aeroplane fún yín. But then with time, things start stealing our dreams, our goals, our aspirations from us. Now, like I said, except you actually discipline yourself enough to segregate yourself from those things that does not support growth in your environment, your dreams, your goals would be stolen from you and you would gladly give it out. Now, there are many things that steal our goals and dreams from us. The last video I made, I spoke about the environment. Now, most times there are self sabotaging, activities that we put ourselves into that steals our dreams for us by ourselves. Now, there is a quote that if you're looking for the worst enemy, your worst enemy, just look at the mirror. That same guy, that same lady that is staring back at you from the mirror is your greatest enemy. Now, it varies in a number of ways on how we self-sabotage ourselves. It includes, the internet. Now, I was reading a book today, and that's the 5 a.m. rule. And then there was a point where the author was talking about technology being something that was meant to help us, but rather we realize that most times it actually destroys people. Now, I have been in that kind of situation, and I'm still trying to discipline myself. Not that I am an expert or I now can get a hang of myself. But there are many times where many people spend a lot of time on videos, on activities that does not really matter. It can either be on TikTok, laughing. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have fun. There are times you have to take breaks. But you know yourself, just tell yourself the truth. You know you haven't done anything to be productive. Now, most times when people use that to actually get away from reality. But one thing I actually saw from somewhere is that of course you can escape reality, but you cannot escape the consequences of escaping reality. There is no how, there is no way you will do it. What will be would be. It's just like a definition of what's the definition? Actually forgotten. Where it says energy is neither lost nor created. Yeah, you don't lose any consequence, and you create consequences definitely. Now all those things are put in place. It is a choice. If you do this, this happens. If you do this, this happens. Now make your choice. Now, most people feel like they are unlucky, life is against them, this and that. They complain and ramble and do all sort of things just to make sure that you pity them. But girl, boy, you actually killed yourself. It doesn't matter whether you are from a background that is not encouraging, but you actually had the power to change it. Why didn't you make that change? That is one truth, one bitter truth, and one raw truth that people do not tend to give themselves. Rather, it feels easy to blame somebody for whatever consequences you are going through. It could be, nobody was there to help me. I did not have enough money. Boy, you had time. You had time to create money. Now, one thing that Alex Omozi says most times is that if you do not have the opportunity to create wealth, if you do not have the opportunity to be born in wealth, to be born with a silver spoon, you had time. You had 24 hours. Why don't you use that 24 hours to create something, to create money for yourself that you can use to buy the kind of future that you want? So now, like I said earlier on, every winner and every loser, they have the same goal. Your goal does not make you unique. Whatever you set does not make you special. Of course, it's a good way to actually feel happy and feel alive that you're trying to do something. But it's actually sticking to that activities even when it is interesting, even when it is sweet, even when it is comfortable. That is what make you important. That is what make you unique. Now, this video is for my grandson. So, you grandson, wherever you are currently, and then you watching this video, know that grandpa is telling you that you should be consistent in whatever you're doing. Do you understand? So now, like I was saying, many people get into a lot of things. Many people do a lot of things. Many people try something new, and then you know, it gets to some point that they it doesn't feel fun again. It doesn't feel special again. It feels boring. It feels like, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? It feels like, is this everything I can do? Now, most people shoot themselves in the leg by thinking they should add other things to it. They shoot themselves. Of course, you can. Of course, you can. The likes of Dangote, the likes of Otedola, it probably has different investment from cement to having a sugar factory, to having a rice production company or factory, different things. But when you're starting out, you have to be consistent. That's why you need to be very careful of the decision you make. You have to be careful on the things you stick through. Whether in a relationship, the person you choose, if you're actually the kind of person that wants the best. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Though. I'm not saying I don't like girls. I'm not saying I don't like the shape. Understand? So I'm just saying your decision make you. Your decision would make you. So you have to be very, very careful the kind of decisions you make. Now, this world is a world whereby we learn. So it's not that you should hold yourself back and then feel like I want to make the perfect decision before I try something. Of course, you can try some things out, but know that your decision will make you. So you should have this instinct that tells you whether this decision is good or not. That's one thing you should understand and should realize. You should know that this decision that I'm making, of course, you know whether it's good or bad. If you're cheating on your girlfriend, you know the decision, you know the consequences that will probably follow through. You know the consequences and the things that will probably happen. If you're cheating on your boyfriend, you know the consequences that would happen. If you're cheating on yourself, if you're spending your time on the internet watching things, and then later on you say you're not being productive, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, it's a decision you made. So nobody has to be blamed. You don't get to blame anybody except for you. Now, one thing that people used to kill themselves is excuse. Now, the same excuses you had for not doing something is the same excuses some people had, and they did what you ought to have done, many times better than you. All right. So your goal as a winner, your goal that makes you unique is to stick through, is to commit to the activities that takes you to your action. That is why habit is very important. You have to, the last time I mentioned having a goal and having a process. Now, your habit, you should have known from the video that your habit really makes you. Even most times, if you do not set a goal, I'm not saying you shouldn't set a goal, but if you do not set a goal, but then you take in the habits of someone who wants to be successful, it would come in naturally. Now, your goals can actually be something that would propel you to actually want it more, but you have to be mindful of the process. You have to take the process very, very important. Set a goal that you can look at and walk through the process, walk through the activities that takes you to achieving that goal. Now, one thing that I tell people also most times is that everything you do in life is a milestone. Is a milestone. You don't get completely successful. You don't get perfectly successful. You don't get the title of being the highest successful person. You don't get to a point where you press the brake and you feel like I've gotten there, I've gotten to my destination point. Everything is a milestone. You always have to grow. If you get to somewhere, if you achieve a certain amount of money, you don't stop there. You move on to the next phase. Because where you stop, other people have gotten past that point. That is where you stop is other people's starting point. Look around. You don't have to be complacent. That is why you need to be very consistent because there are many things that you have to achieve. Now, the game of entrepreneur can be a little bit scary to some people because it feels like, wow, I have to continue doing this. I have to continue going to that place. I have to continue talking to people. I have to continue going to the office. Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And then they go average. They go for the most comfortable part, the most comfortable thing. They probably, I'm not saying getting employed is not good, but they probably choose to take instructions from people instead of creating their own wealth, their own pathway, their own sources. Now, success is a milestone. It's a milestone. You never get to the end point. There is never a person who would probably it has happened that when somebody gets to the highest point and you feel like nobody has ever reached this point before. I need now I can pause, I can stop. It would shock you. E go shock you say person go meet you for that point, go pass you, go lift you for dust, you go lick sand. You dey feel me? Alright, I had to switch to broken English so you can get the energy behind that. Do you understand? Now, any success that you're achieving, you have to continue, attain, and hold on to it. You have to know how to hold on to success. I was telling somebody yesterday, in success, you have to know how to get success, one. You have to know how to hold on to success, two. And you have to know how to multiply the success, three. You have to know how to create a lot of success that there is no way you see failures around you anymore. And it all starts with consistency. Now, there is something I used to call, and it's something I also learned also. It is called the valley of despair. I wish I had a board here to actually draw it out. I'm coming. Let me see if I can get something. I want to make sure that you like. I want to make sure you picture everything that I want to say because I'm trying to release everything that I have for you so that we all can grow. Do you understand? So please give me a few minutes. I'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. So I don't know. Don't worry. Very soon we'll be getting a camera that easily captures everything perfectly. So like I was saying, value of despair. Now, value of despair. Now, this is a point where now still speaking about consistency. Oh, okay. I wrote value of despair, but I think the camera is turning it to a mirror view or something. All right. So basically, this is a point, I would explain it as a point where some people or people do something they start at, let's assume they start at point A, or they have an idea. Can you see that? Maybe I should stand up. Now, they have an idea, and this is the point where they start something new. And then now the idea can be fueled by a lot of, can be influenced by a lot of things. It can include they probably saw a YouTube channel, a YouTube video, or somebody doing something like that, or their cousin, their family, their friends probably told them, you are good at this thing, why not try it out? Or they just got inspired. Maybe they have some certain dreams, talents, and ambition. Now it's very good. Now, and as a result, they start at this point. Now, this is a point where I term it, not that I term it, I actually learned it also, and it is called um, um, uninformed optimism. Uninformed optimism. Okay, let me put it as this idea: uninformed optimism. Now, what does uninformed optimism means? Uninformed optimism is something whereby you don't know about something. You probably saw somebody doing something. The person is doing it well, and you feel like you can do it also. Do you understand? You feel like you can do it also, and then you get into it without being fully informed. You only see the good part. You only see the sweet side. You only see the part where the person is probably spending money. The person is getting money, making money. Posting money, posting his or her rich lifestyle, and you feel like if this is it, definitely I can do it. Now there are a lot of things that people can get into as a result of this. Sometimes it could be into crypto, because I've seen a lot of people get into crypto because they saw somebody who was probably making money from cryptocurrency, and then when they get into it, of course I've been in that position before. I didn't really like do crypto, but something like a trading stuff, and then they realize that it's not as simple as they thought it would be. It's not as sweet as they thought it would be. They have to be disciplined and all that. It could be freelancing also. They have to, later they realize that they have to learn skills, they have to learn this, they have to learn that, they have to be rejected by some clients, they have to be interviewed, and then, but then they don't know that yet. They get into they get into that point, uninformed optimism, and then they start their journey, and then it gets to a point that they realize that this is not as simple and as soft as I thought it would be. And then after a lot of rejections, after a lot of losses, after a lot of no's, after a lot of don't call me again, after a lot of I know sabi you, after basically rejections, then they feel like, wow, I thought this was simple. I didn't know it would actually be like this. Am I sure I want to do this? And then their motivation or their positivity, it comes in, and then this is what I call informed pessimism. Informed pessimism. Pessimism. I hope I got the spellings correctly. So we just get the idea. Do you understand? So informed pessimism. Now, informed pessimism is when they now know that this thing is not as simple as they thought it would be. Now, this can be a point where they feel like, can I do this? This is not simple. Now, one thing is, most times it can either go up and it can come down again. Do you understand? They may get some wins, they may get some losses and everything. But most times it will either go this point. Yeah. And this basically is more like a job hopping. Job hopping. Now, this is a point, a very low point. Now, this is a straight line where they thought everything would probably be balanced, would be smooth, or they'll probably win. But then they realized that there are some hard stuffs about it. And then later on, it gets to the lowest bottom, even up below the balance level. And then I call this point value of despair. Value of despair. Now, this is the point where they probably blame a lot of people for their misfortune or for their unsuccess, and for their inability to succeed. It could be, NEPA is not good. NEPA did not bring me light. Nobody supported me. My parents are not in support. My friends did not do this thing. Nobody on hotspot for me. Nobody subscribed to my YouTube channel. Nobody liked my stuff. Nobody encouraged me. Nobody cares. Do you understand? Nobody cares. Now, this is the value of despair. Now, it takes a level and some form of discipline for you to actually scale through from this place. Because this is where most people, this is the point that either make or break people. Now, this is the point that either make or break people, where they either feel like, can I do this? Is this what I want to do with the rest of my life? Is this what I want to continue with? And then some people either quit, that is, they stop doing that thing, they they throw the towel, they feel like, I'm done. And then some people realize that, wow, okay, so this is how it is. Okay, since I've already learned the bad part, the negative part, the not so good part, and then they learn. Some people either quit, or and some people also learn. And from there, they either go up. Now, this doesn't mean you will also automatically go up as well. You can still come down, it's very possible. But then they get to learn, they have the rough edges, and before you know it, they've mastered it well enough that they now succeed at it. Now, at this value of despair, there are some people, some people can either get attracted by other things also. They're like, there is a new thing out there, why not let's try it out? And this person is also making money from something, blah 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 blah. And then before you know it, they come back to this starting point, and then they waste a lot of years doing one single thing, doing multiple things rather, doing multiple things without having anything to show for it. Now, I'll tell you for sure because this is something that I also learned. Let me take this off. Now, yeah, so this is something that I learned. People would, there's one thing that, or let me ask the question. Take me for example, or should I use myself as an example? Okay, don't worry, let me be the victim. Let me be the victim. So, excuse me, take me for example. If I have done one thing, let's assume I am an investor, and then I have invested in a lot of things, or let's assume you are an investor, you want to invest in me, and then I have done a lot of businesses over the years. I've moved from one business to another, one business to another, times when it wasn't looking so good, and then I quitted on that one, I selected another thing, I'm adding many businesses to my portfolio, so to say, and then I stick to one thing, and then even when it wasn't really good, I stick with it. And like, if you ask me questions about it, I can tell you the ins and out of it. I can tell you this is how it is. If this happens, this is what you should look towards. If this happens, this is what you should look for. If this kind of consequences happen, this is what you should look at. These are places that are probably failing. And then I tell you, okay, if you want to succeed, this is what you are going to do. Who would you believe more? Would you believe the me that I've moved from one thing or the other, that even if you ask me questions about a particular thing, I would not really give you know the answer to give you because I have not gone deep into it, or me that have taken one single thing and I've went through the tough times, through the hard times, and also through the wins, the successes of it, and I can tell you the ins and outs. Who would you believe more? Definitely, I would believe the me of me sticking to one thing true. Now, speaking about consistency, you have to stick through the hard times. You have to understand that it's not going to be simple. It's not going to be easy. That is the raw truth. That is the raw talk. Do you understand? So, consistency, my grandson, consistency really matters in anything they are going to be doing. Grandpa loves you, and grandpa wants you to be successful at anything. Now, there are times when grandpa would not be utterly comfortable with whatever you are doing. It's normal. Even when grandpa was of your age, not everybody was comfortable with what grandpa was doing. Many people criticize grandpa. It's not coming out of hatred, but it's coming out of love for grandpa. Now, grandpa too, when grandpa sees that you are doing some things that are not really good, It's not because grandpa hates you, it's coming out of love. But you understand yourself better, son, grandson. So you have to stick true to success. Do you understand? So that is that on the little talk or rant that I have today. So that is how it is, just raw, the way it should be. No mincing of word, no motivation, but just telling you what it would be. It is what it is, and it will be what it will be, and it has always been what it has always been. And you will get the success if you stick true to the basics. So I hope I was able to pass a little bit of value and a little bit of knowledge. So if you gain one or two things, I would suggest and then ask you to be your brother's keeper by sharing this to somebody who you think would actually need this. So I am not today. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my grandson. So definitely, I'm definitely going to share it with him later on. In maybe when robots are taking people everywhere, and then he's traveling from Earth to Mars to probably go see his girlfriend or go start a business over there. Business, business. Yeah. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate the love, the support that I've been getting so far. So I promise to stick through with this. Then I promise not to fail your hand. So please like, definitely like. If you like something, just like it. Abba, like you get. And then also subscribe and tell somebody about this because we're all growing together. So thank you very much, and I look forward to our growth, your growth, my growth. God bless.